Welcome back to this Live, the Sunday talk show here on Arise News. Let's take our next guest. The United States has imposed entry restrictions on more Nigerians for undermining the democratic process during the 2023 general election. The action is the latest in a series of visa restrictions imposed on Nigerian individuals in recent years. At the moment, a specially constituted presidential election petitions court has begun hearing opposition petitions challenging the declaration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the February 25 presidential vote. In the wake of reports of that sanctions imposition by the United States and as yet to be identified gunmen attacking and killing 2 members of staff of the United States Consulate and 2 policemen in Anambra State. The Anambra State Police Command said the victims were attacked along Atani Osumala Road in Ogbaru local government area, setting their vehicles ablaze during the attack. 2 other security operatives and the driver of one of the vehicles were abducted. A joint team of security operatives immediately launched a manhunt for the assailants, 2 of whom have now been arrested, according to the police command in the state. Among several diplomatic posts during a busy service time, Ambassador Joe Keshi was Nigeria's Consul General in Atlanta, Georgia, and he joins us now on this program. Thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador Keshi.
Good afternoon, Dr. Abati, and congratulations to Arise Television for all the accolades you've just received, all the laurels you've just received. More grease to your elbow, but I will not provide the soap anyway.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Keshi. As I've told my other colleagues in this station, the reward for award is more hard work. So we take it as an inspiration.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, something to encourage us to work harder. Okay, and for as long as I'm on this seat, we'll continue to work hard. But let me ask you, Antony Blinken on Monday, U.S. Secretary of State, talked about specific individuals. And many Nigerians have said, those specific individuals that will no longer enjoy visa access to the United States should be named. What do you think? Is it standard diplomatic protocol not to name and shame persons from a country of interest in this regard? The U.S. saying anybody who violates democratic process in Nigeria cannot come to the United States.
Well, thank you, Ruben. You know, I'm one of those who have said that, look, it's actually meaningless if the United States do not name the persons of interest or the persons that have been, banned from obtaining visa to the United States. Because the whole essence of punishment or actions like this is not only just to shame the people, but, it's to shame the people, but in a situation where we don't even know them, we don't even know who is involved, it just tells you that, sometimes the United States does things in such a way that nobody believes that they are serious. Remember in 2015, John Kerry was in this country and said something similar, that they would do the same thing. And since 2015, they've repeated it. Now they said they've done it. Were they reluctant to let us know the people? Because look, Ruben, when you go through the last election, the videos and the stories and everything, it's a long list. So for me, until they name the list so that we know whether some people who should be there are not there, then we help the United States to compile more lists for them if they want to ban. But on a serious note, this is what happens to a country like ours when our leaders or when the authorities refuse to allow our laws to work. The electoral law is very clear that if you violate the electoral regulations, you will pay for it. You will be prosecuted. In spite of all what went wrong with the last election, in spite of all the videos and pictures we saw of people, breaking the electoral law, neither the police, the DSS, or other agencies have even cared to arrest one person and prosecute that person. So now everybody is saying, oh, the United States has done this. No, the United States shouldn't be the one helping us to punish our nationals who have committed offense in Nigeria. I hear some people will tell me we are a sovereign state, they shouldn't do it. So if we are a sovereign state, for goodness sake, let us behave like a sovereign state. Our laws have been broken. Let's look for the individuals who broke the law and simply punish them. When we do that, the United States will not impose sanctions on anybody.
Okay, Ambassador Keshi, another issue that has been raised is this question. That does the United States have the moral right to talk about democracy in another country? Considering the fact that in the last presidential and general elections in the United States, we saw the Capitol being attacked. We saw persons of interest in the United States behaving in an undemocratic manner. So America says it's defending democracy in other parts of the world. Does America have that moral right to defend democracy when its own democracy has issues?
Dr. Abati, I'm sure you know that as of today, the United States has jailed a couple of people that took part in that January 6th event. They are serving sentences in prison. As of today, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, is being investigated for his role in the January 6th incident. And that's what gives them the moral right to be able to dictate to us. Because we have failed and we have refused to do the right thing. Everybody is rejoicing. Oh, we've won an election. The police assisted us. INEC assisted us. In assisting you, they broke the laws, for goodness sake. So if we refuse to do what we have done, others are doing it for us. But with specific reference to your question, as a policy, the United States, one of his cardinal principles that in terms of foreign policy is defense, expansion of democracy around the world. And so they are very serious when it comes to the issues of democracy around the world. And I think that the actions they are taking against Donald Trump and the rest of, his folks is a clear indication of their desire to ensure that democracy works not only in the United States, but elsewhere in the world. So there are no comparisons. They had a problem January 6th. They are dealing with it. The president of the United States, former President Donald Trump is being investigated for his role. His vice president, they just made a deposition of his vice president a few weeks ago. Come back home here. People violated electoral laws, something similar to what those boys did January 6th in the United States. We have done nothing, and we are questioning whether the United States has the moral rights? No.
Okay, Ambassador Keshi, the U.S. State Department and Anthony Blinken.
The way you call my name, it looks as if I'm on. The way you call Ambassador Keshi, it looks as if I'm on. We're in a court.
No, this is not a...
And you're a lawyer.
This is not an interrogation. It's not an inquisition. We're just having a conversation.
I know.
Just to ask you, the Americans have not named names to shame them. Okay, under consular rules, Vienna Convention on consular privileges, 1963, Vienna Convention on diplomatic immunities and privileges, 1961. Yes, they can do what they want. But who are those persons asking you, as a witness to history, somebody who saw what happened in that election, and a Nigerian, who are those persons you recommend to the Americans to name and withdraw their visa, deny them access? Because it's not just the US. Canada is also saying we would do visa restrictions. Australia is saying we will do visa restrictions. Do you know some people that should never be allowed to leave this country and go abroad, either for toothache or hearing problems?
Dr. Bati, we were all witness to history on the, was it 25th of February or thereabout, and consequently, I think March, when the gubernatorial elections took place. Look, the list is very long. The videos are available. The newspaper reports are there for everybody to see. I can actually give you a list, not names. It includes state governors. It includes INEC commissioners. It includes INEC resident officials. It includes, police chiefs. It includes DSS officials. These are all people that have been named. It includes those who are going around, like in Lagos, ringing bell, saying that anybody who is not from APC should not come and, all those people violated the electoral laws. Those who were going from collating centers, mutilating results, all of them are guilty if only we agree to arrest them and prosecute them. I sincerely hope that the United States have such a list and they have the people. Look, if they don't have the list, if they don't have names, it doesn't really make much difference to us just to say that you have imposed sanctions. We do not even know who. And by the way, for your information, immediately after, particularly after the gubernatorial election, a number of our governors and officials left this country, and their excuse was that they were going to rest. So their visas were still working, and so they were still traveling in and out of the country. And this is why it's essential to have a list and to really see the people on that list. Having that list may, I'm not sure, but may also compel our own government, if they are serious, to begin to punish offenders. Because if you do not punish people who created credibility problem for the last election, we are not going to have any election credible in this country. And that is my concern. Because right now, everybody has just gone away. Election has, results have been announced, so life goes back to normal. 4 years from now, we go through the same process. Elections will be rigged. Life goes back to normal. And people will be wasting their time, in court. Lawyers will be making huge sums of money, It doesn't really make sense to me. We must find a way to make our elections credible. And the starting point is to ensure that those who violate electoral laws are punished, irrespective of who they are. There were stories of governors' involvement. There were stories of INEC commissioners. There were stories of resident commissioners, returning officers, all of them. Well, at least, the police, I think it was Andamawa, they transferred one from one place to the other. No, they should not have transferred the gentleman.
Okay.
They should not have transferred the police officer. Transfer is not a punishment,
Okay, we're trying to wrap this up now. Just one more question. Do you think that the Americans are sending mixed signals, mixed messages? Because I asked this question, Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party has said, look, the U.S. should wait until the election petition matter is concluded before, making any statement about the situation in Nigeria, or even Anthony Blinken calling President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What do you think? Is that a violation of diplomatic protocol? Does it amount to interference?
Look, this is normal diplomatic practice. If tomorrow the court rules differently, all over the same countries will, either call and congratulate the new president or send a congratulatory message to the new president. And so it's a normal practice, actually. For me, that's not a serious issue, really, you know. It's normal trend, and they've done what they have to do. And by the way, Ruben, one thing people don't know, let me tell you this. One thing people don't know is the fact that some of those messages actually did not come from the capital. Because we've done this a couple of times. Anytime there's an election in a country that we are, we have two statements ready, and we inform headquarters. And they tell us, yes, if it's announced and we are sleeping, please issue this. And that's part of diplomatic practice. So a couple of these should have come from headquarters, from embassies here. But it doesn't really make a difference. The truth of the matter is that they are all acting in accordance with diplomatic practice. If there is a different result tomorrow, they will repeat the same thing because they want to continue to maintain relationship with Nigeria. For them, that is the most important thing. Promote their own interests vis-a-vis, what they have to do in Nigeria and Nigerians' own interests as well.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Joe Keshi, for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show.